Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I'm the Chancellor Soul Mike Boone. You tune in to another edition of Soul Facts, a show highlighting the history and music of legendary artists and preserving their legacies. In this edition features an artist who was a protege of a soul icon who later joined ranks as one of the most exceptional talents of the Southern Soul era during the 1960s and 70s. Soul Facts Spotlight artist, Mr. Arthur Conley. Arthur Lee Conley was born Friday, January 4th, 1946 in McIntosh County, Georgia, but grew up in Atlanta. At 12 years of age, Conley was a part of an all-female gospel group called the Evening Smiles that regularly performed at the local radio station WAOK. By 1963, around the age of 19, he became a part of a group called the Corvettes and issued a single on a local indie label called Moon entitled You're Blue, back with I'm Gonna Cry, a takeoff on the Jive 5's 1961 hit My True Story on Belltone Records. Conley was heavily influenced by the late great Sam Cooke. Renamed Arthur and the Corvettes, with Conley on lead vocals, the group switched to the Narcole imprint, National Recording Corporation, and recorded 3 singles: Poor Girl, Back with Darling I Love You, I Believe, Back with Miracles, and Floss and May, Back with Aretha, all issued in 1964 and not successful, which prompted Arthur to focus on his solo career. Arthur took $19 from his aunt and boarded a Greyhound bus from Georgia to Baltimore to look for his father to get some money to go to Chicago in search for RCA Records. When the pursuit was unsuccessful, Conley met his father's girlfriend, whose daughter was in the various discotheques around the area. Arthur pursued in one of the clubs and saw a local band guided by Harold Halt playing there. Halt let Conley sing a few numbers and afterwards introduced him to the manager, DJ Rufus E. Mitchell, who was also a record producer and founder of Rujet Records, along with his partner, Jack Bennett. Mitchell recorded the band on his label and allowed Arthur to sing 2 songs at the session: I'm a Lonely Stranger and Will You Lead Me, becoming A and B side single release.
I'm a stranger, traveling. I'm a stranger,
In late 1965, Otis Redding played the show in Baltimore. His friend DJ Rufus played him a copy of I'm a Lonely Stranger, where Redding loved the 19-year-old high-pitched vocals of Arthur Conley that reminded him of Sam Cooke, his idol. Otis invited Conley to Stax Records, where he had him re-record both songs on his Jodis label, stationed in Macon, Georgia, where he was in partners with Joe Galgan.
I'm a stranger, traveling, darling. I'm a stranger, traveling, darling. Where you lead me, I will follow.
Redding had a contract renewal deal with Stax that gave him the right to book sessions with top players, meaning Booker T and the MGs, the Memphis Horns, and occasionally Isaac Hayes. A follow-up single, Who's Foolin' Who, back with There's a Place for Us, was released in 1966. The Jonas imprint was unable to survive the marketplace, even with the support of Atlantic Records distribution of their products. Otis, Joe Galgan, and Redding's manager Phil Walden folded the label in 1966. In view of this, Stax founder Jim Stewart was under no hesitation to allow Arthur Conley to record in his studio. But this of course made Otis gain a grudge against Stewart, where he spent quality time not concentrating on new material, but instead took his young protege and began shopping for other labels. Now, after getting assurance from Atlantic that it would still distribute Conley's records on their sub-label Atco, Otis obtained a contract for Arthur at Fame Studios located in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, founded by Rick Hall. In January 1967, Redding booked a session at Fame to record a song both he and Arthur composed called Sweet Soul Music, based on the Sam Cooke song Yeah Man from his posthumous album Shake, A Change Is Gonna Come, issued in 1965.
Do you like good music? Crazy about music. Any old music? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah Man was a nod to the popular dances that Cooke chanted out in the song at the time, such as the monkey, the Watusi, the twist, and the swim.
Let's try to do the monkey. All right? Yeah. Let's try the Watusi. I love to do the tootsie. In fact, do this. Put the twist with the tootsie. That's a good one. That's kind of hard now. You gotta watch this on it. You in the middle of an ocean. Ship done gone down now. Swim for your life now. Yeah.
Arranged on his guitar, Otis made changes to the lyrics and tribute to the top soul artists of the day, including himself, and their hit recordings of 1965 or 1966, starting with the mentioning of the Miracles going to a go-go in the beginning, Lou Rawls' Love's a Hurtin' Thing, Sam and Dave, Hold On, I'm Coming, Wilson Pickett with Mustang Sally, and Otis Redding with Fa 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 Fa, Sad Song, and the mention of James Brown, who's the king of them all. The opening riff is from the 1960 movie score, The Magnificent Seven, composed by Elmer Bernstein, and also later used in the Marlboro Cigarettes commercial aired at the same time of its release. The background vocals were provided by a group called the Epsilons, a group from Philadelphia that Otis Redding managed and toured with, consisting of Gene McFadden and John Whitehead, who would later become singer-songwriters for Philadelphia International Records in the 1970s, Lloyd Parks, who was recruited to join Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes in 1971, and Alan Beatty and James Knight. The Epsilons disbanded and reformed in 1969 and recorded a single on Stax called The Echo, released in 1969, plus Lost Love on the Triple G imprint.
The echo, baby, the echo, baby, the echo.
Back with a 1959 Sam Cooke B-side classic to Only 16, Let's Go Steady Again, title shortened to Let's Go Steady.
But now that he's gone, let's go steady. Do you like good music?
Sweet Soul Music charted number 2 on Billboard's top-selling R&B singles on April 29, 1967. The song that prevented Sweet Soul Music from the #1 position was Aretha Franklin's I Never Loved a Man the Way I Loved You. The song also hit number 8 in the UK in June 1967 and reached the top 10 in Canada, the Netherlands, and the Philippines. Sweet Soul Music sold over 1 million copies and was certified a gold record. Arthur Conley also appeared on American Bandstand and lip-synced the song. A self-titled album, Sweet Soul Music, was issued in a few weeks and later hit number 10 R&B on June 17, 1967. Fame released 2 uncharted singles on Arthur Conley in 1966, I Can't Stop, No, 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 back with In the Same Old Way, and Take Me Just As I Am, later recorded by Solomon Burke, released during the summer of 1967 on Atlantic Records, back with another Sam Cooke ditty, I'm Gonna Forget About You, also a hit 4 years later for Bobby Womack on Liberty Records in 1970.
Take me, darling, just as I am, just as I am.
While Arthur Conley was riding high on the success of Sweet Soul Music, the Stax label was preparing for a European tour in the spring of 1967. The tour was billed as the Stax Volt Review, Hit the Road Stax, with its powerhouse lineup starting with Sam and Dave, Booker T and the MGs, Eddie Floyd, and for one English date, the concert at Paris Olympia Theater only, the Memphis Queen of Soul, Carla Thomas. Arthur Conley was added as a second billing after singer Percy Sledge dropped out at the last minute, and the Marquis, well known as the Memphis Horns, were the brass attraction.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arthur Conley.
One particular night show, thankfully, was filmed in Oslo, Norway on Friday, April 7, 1967. Up first were Booker T and the MGs with 2 of the selective hits, Red Beans and Rice and Green Onions. Next were the Marquis, Memphis Horns, with 3 classic instrumentals, Philly Dog, Grab the Sting, and Last Night. Arthur was the first vocalist on the program, and with all smiles, he opened the show with Wilson Pickett's 1965 hit, In the Midnight Hour. And in a gospel fever, he asked the audience to clap their hands and feel all right.
Do you feel all right out there? If you feel all right, everybody get up and do what you want to do out there. Everybody, clap your hand just a little bit louder. Come on, clap your hand just a little bit louder. And I do believe everything's gonna be all right.
Then, an introductory to his new hit in the States, Sweet Soul Music.
Right now, I'd like to do my latest recording back in the States. A little thing called Sweet Soul Music. So if you want to do anything you want to do you like good music?
Conley then proceeds to take off his suit jacket with beads of sweat pouring from his face, sliding and bouncing on the stage, imitating the 4 soul artists mentioned in his hit record. Just having a ball.
The song is consistent of the 5 greatest artists in rhythm and soul blues in the States. Number 1, Brother Lou Rawls. Number 2, Sam and Dave. Number 3, Wilson Pickett. Number 4, Number 5, baby. Who is number 5? James who? James who? James Brown, y'all.
Not everyone was happy about the decision of Arthur Conley added to the tour. In Arthur Peter Gunerich's 1986 masterpiece classic book, Sweet Soul Music, titled after Conley's hit, Stax artists Rufus Thomas and William Bell were hurt and resentful at being left behind with a newcomer like Arthur Conley. Not even a Stax artist was included, and received second billing over bigger stars like Sam and Dave at the assistance of Otis Redding. The Stax Volt Review was a major success. England's #1 trade paper, Melody Maker, declared, "Stax, the review show to end them all." This magazine quotes one of the wildest, most jumping tours to hit our island in a long time. Other music commentators echoed their sentiments.
Take you and hold you. I do all the things I told you. The midnight hour. Yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am. Oh.
After his return back to the States, Arthur Conley made his first appearance at the world-famous Apollo Theater the weekend of April 21st, 1967, with Sam and Dave as the headliners, along with Joe Simon, Jimmy Hughes, Eddie Floyd, Mabel John, Kim Tolliver, and Sad Sam as the show's MC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
After Sweet Soul Music sold 1 million copies, a lawsuit was filed by J.W. Alexander, business partner of Sam Cooke. Alexander established Caggs Music Firm in 1958 and formed a partnership with Cooke in 1960, and together founded SAR, Sam and Alex Records Production, marketing gospel and R&B recordings. SAR also stood for Sam, Alex, and Roy, who was S.R. Crane, Cooke's mentor from the gospel group the Soul Stirrers. Alexander sued both Otis Redding and Arthur Conley for plagiarizing the melody of Cooke's Yeah Man. A settlement was reached where Cooke's name was added to the writer's credit, and that Otis agreed to record songs in the future from the Caggs music catalog. Sam Cooke's family was also not happy about the plagiarizing situation as well. The settlement was an insurance for future finances, since Otis had always recorded Sam's songs on his albums in the past.
I was born by a river, oh man, in this little old tent, oh, just like this river, I've been running ever since. That's the sound of the men, they're working on the
Now inked with Capricorn Records, Atlantic sub-label, Otis Redding produced Conley's second release on the imprint, backed by the musicians, the Fame Gang, and background vocals provided by the Epsilons, a cover of Big Joe Turner's classic 1954 hit, Shake, Rattle, and Roll.
All you wanna do is shake, rattle, and roll in the morning, shake, rattle, and roll in the evening, shake, rattle, and roll all night long, shake, rattle, and roll.
Back with You Don't Have to See Me, composed by New York Giants football player Rosie Greer and Chris Harris.
You don't have to see me, baby, yeah. All you wanna do
Shake, Rattle, and Roll hit number 20 R&B on July 15, 1967.
in the evening, shake, rattle, and roll all night long, shake, rattle, and roll.
Conley's sophomore Echo album was the self-titled Shake, Rattle, and Roll, issued during the late summer of 1967.
When I get up sleeping in a seafood store, oh yeah, and I can look at you and tell you ain't no shy no more.
Arthur Conley also made an appearance on the Sam and Dave Show, filmed in Germany, on the musical anthology program Beat Beat Beat, the precursor to the Beat Club and Music Latin. It was broadcast on Monday, November 13th, 1967. Acko issued Arthur's third uncharted single entitled Whole Lotta Woman, composed by Conley, back with Love Comes and Goes, released in October of 1967.
I gotta rock and tell that rock. I gotta rubber ball that roll. But I need a whole lot of woman to satisfy my soul. Love comes and goes. Love come and go.
While Arthur was riding on the crest of success, tragedy struck as his mentor and friend Otis Redding, along with the Barkays and the pilot Richard Frazier, was killed in Redding's Beechcraft H-18 airplane at Lake Monona at Madison, Wisconsin on Sunday afternoon, December 10th, 1967 at 3:28 p.m. Barkays member Ben Conley, who sadly passed away on Monday, September 21st, 2015, was the sole survivor of the crash. Upon hearing the news, Arthur Conley was devastated. Redding's body was recovered the next day when the lake was searched. Otis Redding's funeral took place at the Macon Civic Auditorium on Monday, December 18, 1967. His body lied at state at 6:30 a.m., where 25,000 people viewed him and 6,500 attended the services. The attendance included a who's who in soul music and politicians alike, such as James Brown, Joe Simon, who sang at the services, Joe Tex, who served as a pallbearer, Johnny Taylor, Gene Chandler, Wilson Pickett, Percy Sledge, among others. Arthur Conley sobbed inconsolably at the funeral. Otis Redding's body was laid to rest in the backyard of his big old ranch, 100 yards away from his house in Macon, Georgia. Around this time, Arthur Conley was named by Billboard magazine as the number 11 pop male artist and number 18 R&B singles artist in December 1967. After the death of his mentor Otis Redding, Arthur Conley's career was in a state of flux, but went on to concentrate on his songwriting and collaborated with Redding's bandmate and friend Earl Speedo Sims and co-wrote Conley's next classic dance hit called Funky Street.
One used to be the shotgun. Two used to be the bad boogaloo. Three used to be the swing shing-a-ling. Four used to be the funk, the folk-bonus.
Back with Put Our Love Together,
Put our love together. Put it together. Put our love together. Put it together. Right on Funky Street.
Funky Street charted number 5 R&B on May 11, 1968. Arthur's third Acko album entitled Soul Directions was released in the summer of 1968. Featured on the album is Conley's tribute song to Otis Redding entitled Otis Sleep On.
Sleep on, sleep on, Otis Redding. Sleep on, sleep on. Take your rest. I know that God loves you best.
Conley's fifth single, People Sure Act Funny, the 1962 Titus Turner hit on Enjoy Records, back with Burning Love, stalled at number 17 R&B on July 20th, 1968.
So act funny when they get a little money, yes they do, y'all. So act funny when they get a little money, yes they do, y'all. Your love is like a burning fire way down in my soul.
Arthur appeared on the German music program called Beat Club and sang two of his hits, Sweet Soul Music and Funky Street. Arthur Conley became part of a close-knit group of great Southern soul artists, calling themselves the Soul Clan, formed by Solomon Burke and Don Covey in 1966 after reading a London newspaper about a Soul Clan invasion, meaning them. The organization was formed by Burke after he teamed up with fellow Atlantic artists Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding, Joe Tex, and Don Covey to ask for $1 million for a real estate project. You see, they intended to buy a lot of property in the ghetto areas of the South to remodel homes, furbish lands, provide jobs, build schools, and create black-owned restaurants to knock off the McDonald's and the KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, out the box. They needed $1 million to pull this project together. The Klan walked into the Atlantic offices asking for that sum, and it wound up being on the back shelf. After the tragic death of Otis Redding, Arthur Conley took his place. Wilson Pickett suddenly dropped out, being replaced by Benny King. The Soul Clan now consisted of Solomon Burke, Don Covey, Benny King, Joe Tex, and Arthur Conley. It took the death of Otis Redding to get the group into the recording studio. The result was a song composed by Don Covey with input from Bobby Womack called Soul Meeting.
Is Arthur here?
Yeah.
Is Joe here?
Yeah.
Where's Solomon?
Right here.
I see Don coming in now, man.
Come on in the door now.
And here comes Benny with him.
Benny Key, come on.
Hey, man, Joe packing up.
Back with the classic That's How I Feel.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. That sweet soul woman, she's alright.
Soul Meeting hit number 34 R&B on August 10th, 1968.
She's alright. So doggone sweet.
Is Arthur here?
Yeah.
Is Joe here?
5 of their vocals were recorded separately, individually, but the ambiance of their presence was a declaration of camaraderie and talent.
I'm going back to Baton Rouge, man.
I thought you had a good thing going,
Ain't
man.
got nothing going up here in New York, man. Listen.
Soul Meeting was recorded at the Wildwood Studios in Hollywood.
And I'm just barely making enough money trying to get back. Listen, I can't see paying all of my rent for a room that's got a room and a bed.
Is Arthur here?
Yeah.
The Soul Clan members were poorly served by Atlantic Records. Solomon Burke said that after their demands, the record was stopped and banned. Burke said, "We were going against the grain of what black entertainers are supposed to do. Have parties, eat barbecue ribs, and pork chops." Well, soon after, Solomon Burke left Atlantic Records and signed with the Bell Imprint in New York. In July 1981, the Soul Clan reunited for a sold-out concert at the Savoy Theater in New York, with Wilson Pickett subbing for Arthur Conley, Benny King, Don Covey, Joe Tex, and Solomon Burke. After a chaotic night with a busted sound system, dead mics, band miscues, and constant arguments, the group never toured again. The last Soul Clan gathering was in August of 1982 at the funeral of Joe Tex.
We've made a day. I can't hardly go down south and make a way.
More Echo singles on Arthur Conley was issued from 1968 to 1970, starting with Andora's Love Shack, back with Is That You Love, number 41 R&B on November 22nd, 1968.
Hey man, I'm down at the shack. Down at Andora's Love Shack. So shack.
Is
that you love coming in to my life again.
Speak Her Name, back with Run On, 1969.
Speak her name, and I get misty-eyed. Run on, run on, oh, see what the end gonna bring. See what the end gonna bring. Yeah. Look at him.
Star Review, back with Love Sure Is a Powerful Thing, released in 1969.
Somebody gonna steal the show. Come on, mama, and me and you go. Put on your red dress and your red shoe. You're gonna need it for the dance we gonna do. Yes, we are a powerful thing. Sugar got a hold on me. First I thought I just like you. You were just like wind.
They Call the Wind Mariah, back with Hurt, released in 1970.
And they call the wind Mariah, Mariah, oh Mariah. They call the wind Mariah. Hey, just to hear someone say she left him again.
God Bless, back with Your Love Has Brought Me a Mighty Long Way, charting number 33 R&B on May 2nd, 1970.
God bless the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, the Good Tooth Fairy, and Debbie Doll. Your love has brought me a mighty long way.
Dayo, back with Nobody's Fault But Mine, recorded by Otis Redding in 1967 and later issued as a B-side to his I've Got Dreams to Remember hit in 1968. Arthur's version was released in 1970.
Now I miss you all the time. No heart can be as sad as mine. Ain't nobody's fault, honey, but mine.
After Otis Redding died, Conley had to make fast decisions about the direction of his career because everyone was still in shock over his death. It was a tough period in Arthur's life.
Burden down, I'm suffering with all my sorrow. But crying ain't gonna help me now. I made a mistake anyhow. Ain't nobody's fault, honey, but mine.
Arthur Conley composed the tune for his Soul Directions LP called We Gotta Rock This Nation. While in the studio laying his vocals down, producer Jerry Wexler burst in and stopped production and suggested that Conley instead cover the Beatles' cut Ola Dee Ola Da to honor the new genre in R&B called reggae and for a crossover appeal. Back with Otis Sleep On,
Sleep on, sleep on. Oh, this red sleep on.
Oblab Dee Oblab Da hit number 41 R&B on January 18th, 1969, and number 51 pop on January 18th as well. Conley's last and fourth album on Atco was More Sweet Soul, issued in 1969. Oblab Dee Oblab Da features the late great Duane Allman on guitar. While the single releases kept Arthur afloat, his career suffered a great deal from the loss of his mentor, Otis Redding. Conley moved to Capricorn Records in 1971, founded by Otis Redding's manager, Phil Walden, his brother Alan, and Frank Fenter in 1969. Capricorn released 4 unsuccessful songs within a 3-year period. First with I'm Living Good, back with I'm So Glad You're Here in June of 1971. More sweet soul music, back with Walking on Eggs, July 1972. More sweet soul music, back with Rita, released in 1972, and It's So Nice When It's Someone Else's Wife, composed by Jerry Swamp Dog Williams, back with Bless You, released in 1973. After his success diminished, Arthur Conley had less and less to say on what to record on the Capricorn imprint. He said in interviews years later in the Dutch articles in 2003, Too Soft for Soul, "It's not my fault I didn't have any more hit songs. I couldn't record my songs, and they kept coming up with these songs. I tried my best, but they just did not suit me." After his contract was up with the record companies and he was free, Arthur Conley felt the inspirations within his surroundings in America was no more. So he traveled to England as a free agent. He spent a few years in Belgium before settling in the Netherlands in 1980. There, he legally changed his name to Lee Roberts. The first name, his own middle name, the surname, his mother's maiden name, leaving the name Arthur Conley behind. He also formed a new group called Lee Roberts and the Sweaters. A live set date recorded in Amsterdam on Sunday, January 6, 1980, was issued as an album in 1988 titled Solin, with only 1,000 copies pressed, credited to Lee Roberts and the Sweaters. As some say, you can't fool Mother Nature. Well, you can't fool soul fans neither, as his identity was already revealed through his vocals as Arthur Conley. Conley emerged years later as a successful entrepreneur and founded his Art Con Productions that consisted of some 9 companies.
Talk about it, how you broke me so hard.
Arthur Conley continued in the industry as a music counselor and in artist development, coaching up-and-coming young singers in Holland. Conley was also working on a new CD in 2001, and that same year gave an interview on the Dutch TV show called Rian Zeiger and Music.
And the same foolish heart still beats for you.
On Monday, November 17, 2003, Arthur Conley sadly passed away in Ruhelo, located in the Netherlands, from intestinal cancer. He's buried in Woerden, a city in Dutch. Many music critics said that Arthur was more comfortable overseas, not for a career acceptance, but within a secret that he had hidden for years. He was gay. He only wanted peace and tranquility. No one overseas really cared about his sexual preference. Before he died, Otis Redding made sure the author received his royalties, in which Conley still received until his death. Deanie Parker, former Stax artist and songwriter and president of Soulsville, which operates the Stax Museum of American Soul Music located in Memphis, Tennessee, said of Arthur Conley when he passed, "We'll never forget the skinny, enormously energetic little guy that asked people all over the world, 'Do you like good music?' That's sweet soul music." Arthur Conley, one of our most profound R&B soldiers, will be missed. Miss Parker, may I echo those words and leave everyone by saying, Arthur, sleep on. Let's just be thankful that the music outlives the man. Until we meet again musically, I am the Chancellor of Soul.
Do you like good music? That sweet soul music. Just go to this swing, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Soul Facts, a show written, created, produced, and copywritten by the Chancellor of Soul, Mike Boone, and is a non-profit music presentation.